Hey everyone, it's Lori from Scraps by Sissy. Welcome to another fabulous Friday. Today we're going to make this cute card that features some of the designer series paper that's on sale through the end of October. It's a buy 3 get 1 free. And this little piece of designer series paper is from the Naturally Eclectic pack. We're going to be using the stamp set Remarkable You. There's 2 cases to the set. We're going to use this, I think it's either an iris or a crocus or something like that. And the sentiment, I'm so grateful for you. And we're going to be using some of the new Stampin' Blends markers. These are the new alcohol markers that will be available to you beginning November 1st. They come in a you can either buy them as an individual marker or a combo of each color, or you can actually buy the entire set for one price, and that includes all the colors, a bronze and an ivory, which are for skin tones, and the color lifter. Today we're going to use the light and the dark rich raspberry and the light and the dark old olive. Now when you're using alcohol markers, you want to use the Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad, because that way the ink doesn't smear when you're coloring. And you should always use a piece of scratch paper or our grid paper, which always works well when coloring, because with alcohol markers it does bleed through. So let's get started on this. I'm going to ink up our flower using the Memento. You want to get it a good coverage. And then you're just going to stamp the image. There we go. And you want to make sure it's really dry before you start coloring. So I'll go ahead and add the sentiment. Now the actual sentiment says, "And I'm grateful for you," or I'm so grateful for you, but I don't want the "and," because that should be the inside sentiment, but we're going to use it for the outside. So we're going to mask the "and" off. And I will tell you, I don't put the stickers on the back of my blocks or the back of my stamps, because I find they stick better on the blocks this way. So when I mount the stamp onto the block, I use my grid paper to line the actual sentiment up. So I'll just stamp this. It would help if I took the piece of Scotch tape off so we don't have a black blob at the bottom. And just stamp straight down and straight up. Okay, so now let's start with our coloring. You can start with either the light or the dark, whichever you want. I prefer to start with the dark. And there's 2 ends. There is the smaller end for the tight coloring, and then the wider end for the broad coloring. And the new and improved version of this, you can hear the snap of the cap. That way there won't be any evaporation from the alcohol. And they just really blend well. I think, as far as I'm concerned, these markers will make an artist out of just about anybody. Just kind of give it a little bit of shading. And rather than have that stark line there, just go back in with the light and just kind of color it in. Now you can see where I went out of the line right there. So I'll bring in the color lifter. And it works like an eraser. And then that'll dry. Now if it's a really big mistake, you may have to go over it a couple of times. Okay, so now we're going to use the dark. And I like to just outline the stamp lines. And then I just kind of blend everything in from there. Like I said, you don't have to be an artist to use these. And every time you use you say you're going to make multiples of one particular stamp image, they're never going to turn out the same twice. They'll always have different shadings. I'm just going to pull in some of that dark. And the more color you lay down, the more it's going to blend. Okay. Now there's a line here. Let's just pull that back a little bit. And I can see there's a little bit of a mistake there. Just a little bit. So we'll just come back over. There. Now, you know how sometimes when you're looking at something and there's like a lighter spot, if you've colored everything like I've done here, you can just come through and see how it just kind of lifts that color. Isn't that neat? My first instinct is to start cleaning it like I do with the blender pens, but I really kind of like it with the dark. There we go. And the more color you lay down, the richer that color will be. You can go back over a couple times with the darker one to bring in some dimension. Okay, I think that looks about done. Let's come back up. Oh, here we missed a spot. Okay. So once that's done, you can see how it bleeds through the back. It didn't actually get on my grid paper, but you wouldn't want to color on a surface that you didn't want to get messy. So we'll set that aside for the moment and we'll build the card. And first I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of my designer series paper. Layer it on the rich raspberry. We're going to do a cheater method on the ribbon. I'm just going to cut a piece, just enough to get over the length of the card, and we're going to tape it down using Scotch tape. This is when you want to be frugal with your ribbon. There we go. Now I'll take this down to the card base. Oops, it would help if I got it right side up. Okay, we'll add our stamped image. And we're going to add dimensionals on this. Now I want it down the lower right hand corner of the card. We're going to cut a little piece of the ribbon to tie a knot. Slip that under there. Okay, we'll add some of the black rhinestones. See if I can do this without stabbing myself. And I did finish the inside sentiment. This is You Are Remarkable from the same stamp set. And there you go. The one thing I like about these alcohol markers is the fact that they coordinate so well with our colors. They are exclusive to the Stampin' Up! Line. For more information on this card, go to scrapsbysissy.com. I'll have all the information for the product numbers and all the dimensions on the card. Have a great Friday. Bye.